I got information from Destiny as well. So I want to look over that, go through some of that documents because I did purchase that package that she
Okay.
offered on her seminar when she did her webinar.
Okay.
So I just haven't had
So,
the opportunity to get around to doing that. So
okay.
um as a registered nurse, I do have my I have two NPIs. I have one that was under another employer, but I also have my NPI on for my LLC. And
Okay.
then
So,
my next codes, I have quite a few of the next codes as well. So I just want to get everything together and have it in front of me so that I can just go through the process step by step.
okay. So make sure I understood you right. You purchased the SAM registration to help you along with getting your SAM registration. That's what you're talking about. You purchased from Destiny.
That package that she was offering for like 67,
Yes.
$69, that
Okay.
was the
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
That was
that's what I
that.
got.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So once you get to that, once you register and get everything going with that, then obviously you'll be able to start doing bids and get once you get your cage code. So in regards to that, are you once you get your SAM registration up and going, you're going to be leaning more towards um medical or nursing type of
I'm
bids? Is
looking,
that what your business is?
it's more so catering to the senior population,
Okay.
for housing and things of that nature, because I want to do, a community housing, small residential housing in the community, so that they can age in place and it's more of an intimate type of setting versus it being a facility or commercial setting. That's what I'm looking to do. And then I'm also looking to do training for informal caregivers for those individuals, family members that don't want to put their loved ones in a facility and they want to care for them at home, but they have reservations because they don't know how to care for them doing the turning, the positioning, medication managements and things of that nature. So I'm looking to do a course for that.
Okay. Yeah. So, the government, has all type of opportunities for exactly what you're saying. So
Okay.
once you get set up and going, obviously find your NAICS code to kind of gear towards those type of services. And then you want to kind of more cater to the VA. The VA will probably be your main agency that you
Okay.
want to, focus on. Not saying that, there aren't other agencies, but when you're talking about those home health cares or, providing those type of elderly care type services, the VA has a plethora of those. I would probably also get with Destiny. She has more experience, so sign up, to do some coaching maybe with her,
Okay.
to get more in specifics on that if you want to gear it specifically to that. But that doesn't have to be like your only thing. So once you get set up in your SAM registration, make sure you go through that packet. And then once you get your cage code, then we can get you rolling with some other NACE codes that kind of surround that. But it sounds
Okay.
like the business that you're starting are already going is going to be kind of geared towards those elderly type services, and the VA has a plethora of those. What city are you located in?
I'm in Buffalo. I'm outside of Buffalo, New York.
Okay, so
Buffalo, Niagara Falls area.
okay, yeah. So check with some of your local agencies and city and state options as well too,
Okay.
along with the federal, and then kind of go from there. So
Okay.
okay, all right, we'll
Great.
swing back around. All
Thank
right,
you.
you're welcome. Ed, we'll start with you, or we'll go to you next.
Okay, awesome. Um, well, I've been a subcontractor doing the SAMs.gov. I have not been in the actual.
Your audio's going out of the Ed.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it was going in and out. Last thing I heard was I was a subcontractor, then it cut off.
Okay. All I've been doing was the subcontractor part in the SAMs registration part, as far as just the outside work, as far as doing NSA and NIH. I did those two sites, but other than that, I haven't did the in-house as far as the process of getting the paperwork and stuff done. So I
Okay.
actually went on SAMs.gov today to start that. I do have my NASIX codes already on my website, but
Okay.
it'll be mainly for like general contracting, um,
Okay.
uh, hardscape work, plumbing work, um, basically the drawing in the physical part of how can I say landscape architectural stuff. It's not
Okay.
more than just that. So that's the whole process. So I'm actually in the beginning part. I really wanted to get in this seminar with you to see exactly what you know, so I can apply it.
Okay.
I don't know anything about that book because I didn't go to the last seminar, but if
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
I can definitely pay for that and
Okay.
get started on that process.
Okay. So let me ask you, when you said, let me back up a little bit. So when you said was in SAM as a sub, do you have a cage code? Are you registered in SAM.gov already as a prime
No,
contractor? No?
no.
Okay.
I was a sub under other
Under a prime.
GCs. Yes, and
Okay. So
go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
So all I did was actually they gave me a contract. They showed me what they had, and then they gave me information. That was about it.
Okay,
It
as a
wasn't
prime.
as
I mean,
they
as
was
a
the prime.
you was a sub to the prime.
Correct.
Okay, so your first step, what you want to do is get registered in SAM. So I'm going to send you a link. Last week when we did the seminar, the one of the hosts that did that, she created a course or a paid kind of step-by-step guide, easy step-by-step guide that will literally take you step by step and getting registered in SAM.
Okay.
So I'm gonna send you that. So if you're gonna pay for anything, I'm gonna have you pay for that first, so you can get registered in SAM. Once you get registered in SAM, add all your NACE code for all your general contracting and all those things that your NACE code would apply to within your business. Then we can start going at the other opportunities. Now, while you're waiting, you can still navigate through SAM and start looking at opportunities, so you can be ready for once you get your case code. You don't have to wait till you get your case code before you start just looking at solicitations and things of that nature. But that would be the first thing you want to do, so you can start bidding as a prime contractor in that space.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. So
All
I'll just
right.
have to get the documents from you in that range from that
Yeah.
lady.
Yeah. No, I have the link. So I'll get Caress to, as this chat is going on, I'll get Caress to put the link in for that SAM registration course. And it's not really even a course. It's really a step-by-step guide that's going to guide you all the way through to get your registration. Easy, simple step by step. And then once you do that, like I say, then you will, once you get your cage code, then we'll go into the SAM, and then you'll start looking at opportunities. And once again, you can look at those now already, but you'll be ready to apply for them, or bid on them, for lack of better words.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
All
And
right.
now is that for just in one state or is that in multiple states?
No, so SAM is federal. So SAM is federal. You can bid on any opportunity that every agency in the federal government has. SAM is federal. When you're talking about local and state, that's essentially, that is what it is. So you would have to check with your local agencies and departments to see what those opportunities are. But SAM is federal, so that's going to be nationwide, and even some, they also have international contracts as well.
Okay. Okay.
But do you
Okay.
understand, with SAM, opportunities, you don't have to be in that state or city to bid on opportunities. The contracts that Caress and I have, they're not in Alabama. We have, ours are in Colorado or in Oregon. So you don't have to be residing in that state to perform a service or business.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We'll swing
All right.
back around.
All right.
All right, Jessica, we'll come to you.
Okay, so I missed the first part. I didn't get to attend the first part of the government contracts, but a little bit about me. I had self-taught myself how to get on SAMS.
Okay.
So I had a SAMS, a cage number and everything, went through the whole process. And um what messed me what was life. And so got a little busy and kind of just faded off of the Sam's, website and everything. And
Mhm.
so then when it was time for me to roll around and recertify, I didn't recertify.
Okay.
So I guess my question would be, how easy or hard would it be for me to um, reapply or recertify, my cage information?
Yeah, so it really depends. When you're talking about expired cage code, it's not hard to get that reinstated. Did you already have your UEI number with that cage? And I'm assuming you did if you did have an
Yes.
active cage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you don't want to create a new application, or you don't want to go through a whole new product, 'cause that can kind of confuse the system, especially if it's the same entity and all that none of that information has changed. So it's really, there is, and I can get with you offline too, but there is a way that you can go through the process to get it reinstated if it's just a situation where it has expired. And you won't have to go through the whole steps of reapplying, but you definitely don't want to reapply under the same entity because that can confuse it. So if it's a situation where it's just expired, yeah, there's a process that you can get it reinstated, and they have a help desk number that can also help with that as well. But we'll be able to get with you that.
Okay.
All right. Other questions? And while you still got the floor?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Because once I got into Sam's website and everything, I just kind of like you said, looked at different opportunities because there's a lot of stuff on there.
Right.
So just kind of navigating through that and learning different things. So that was the biggest thing, trying to see how I could get reinstated.
Okay. All right. Okay. Looks like who else do we have on here? Zakia. Hopefully I got that name right.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Zakia. So, what we're doing is just like I said, you guys have the floor to ask general contracting questions, federal contracting questions, or any questions related to SAM. So, I'm not sure if you was on the webinar that we did last week, but if so, we can follow up on that. If you have any questions, or even if you're past that stage and you got your registration, if you got some general or specific contracting questions for your business or anything like that, this is where you guys can ask me those type of questions, and I'll try to assist the best way I can.
Okay. Um, Thank you. I'm trying, just being fully transparent. I've signed up for so many things. I'm trying to remember what what it was about this one that prompted me to sign up. I think it
Okay.
might have been, oh, are you the gentleman that has the lodging, like you do the lodging contracts?
Yeah. So that yes, the short answer is yes. I have federal contracts, and the majority of my federal contracts is dealing with providing lodging to the federal government. So I'm not sure. Did you sign up? Did you see me through the GovCon Collective Facebook group, or you saw me on YouTube, or how did you? 'Cause I'm just trying to connect the dots to make sure I can um, piggyback off of your need. Is
Right.
that
No,
what is that? Okay.
I believe that it was a YouTube thing
Okay.
that I saw,
Okay.
and we had been we had submitted a proposal for a lodging one, but it unfortunately got canceled because it was during the shutdown and whatnot had happened. But
Okay.
I was interested in your perspective of there have been some that are specifically saying, we're not going to do business with a third party, and we were just wondering, well, how would that work? That just means it's directly through the hotel, correct?
Yeah. So let me back up a little bit. So do you already are registered in SAM and have your cage code and everything? You're ready to rock and roll as far as putting in solicitation responses, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. So and you're specifically looking at lodging contracts, and even more specifically than that, hotel type contracts, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, when you're talking about the solicitations for a hotel contract that says we don't want to deal with third party, they those are kind of hit and miss. So when they say that, that is kind of what they mean. They don't want, you to contract with the with the hotel and then you provide rates or bids on top of that. So that would be considered third party. But sometimes that generic information that they put in solicitations to kind of weed out a whole lot of bids, for lack of better words. So my suggestion to something like that is if that solicitation has that contracting officer or that contracting specialist on there on that, on that main page where it says POCs.
Yes.
Yeah, so if they have an email there and it's normally allotted time for question and answers, if it's still in that window of that allotted time for questions and answers, I would reach out to that contracting officer or contracting specialist, POC, and simply ask. I would simply ask, I saw in the solicitation that it said no third party vendors, but I just want to clarify, does that mean that I can't bid and have a subcontract and my sub be in a hotel, or does that kind of mean something else in between the lines? And most of the time, that's kind of generic information, so they don't get a lot of bids because they understand the middleman approach, and they understand that you'll have the primes in SAM that will sub out the hotels, and that he or she would let you know directly, and then that's kind of how I would approach that.
Okay, thank you. And now to the group, I do apologize if this was not the
No,
correct
no, this
platform
that
for
is
me.
this that is this. I think I do remember you reaching out to me a couple of months back, and signing up back. But yeah, no, that is that. So you're in the right space.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate your
You're
time.
you're welcome. Um, who else do we have on here? Oh, Destiny did join. Destiny, you have something you want to ask or say, or you just listening for now? She might just be in the background. Okay. All right, we'll swing back around. Cassandra, we'll swing. Like I say, we'll just keep going and going and going as long as you guys got questions. So I'm here to answer and ask any questions. If you guys want to specifically talk about your business as far as what you're going after, and I can maybe assist to kind of point you in the right direction because I know Sam has a lot of solicitations out there and the wording can be confusing, and then once you open up those solicitations they may have a lot of documents that you want to read through and it can be very overwhelming. So I'm here to kind of help you when you get to that point. So if you do have other questions, feel free to ask me. So we'll start back at the top, and Cassandra, if you have any questions, I'll turn the floor back over to you.
Um, yes, pretty much because of the arena that I'm going into. Are there grants out there for me as for the senior population, for the training population, um, just to assist people to kind of like start getting people out of those nursing homes and putting them into more of like a community setting? So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when you're talking about like we're trying to receive grant funding or grants for what you're trying to do, that's kind of look that's different from actual proposals and solicitation. That's a whole different space when you're talking about winning grants. And I'm not even going to act like I'm an expert or understand the whole grant writing process. So I'm not sure on that specifically, but and if you can look at the chat, Destiny says something. But
I'm seeing
yeah,
it.
yeah, grants and contracting solicitation, those are two separate spaces. So if you're saying you want to go after grants for senior care, that's a little something different. But they do also have VA type housing for the elderly and those that are disabled, that are discharged, or those type of things. Veteran, and like I say from the top, like the VA would probably be your prime agency that you want to target, but there are several others too.
Okay. And when I more than likely, I guess, looking at Destiny's response to what I was saying, um, I'm looking at government contracts, and that's, I guess what I should have said was a government contract, but in my head, um, I'm thinking the government is giving grants, but also looking at it from the perspective now, getting a better understanding of it. It's more so contracts with the government. So going back to that same question, as far as contracts versus grants through the federal government to do the things that I'm looking to do.
Yeah, so yeah, the answer to your question is yes to both. There are grant funding out there for what you're trying to do, and there's government contracts out there for what you're trying to do, but they're not one of the same. It's two, without going too deep into it, that's two, what they call two different pots of money. So the
Okay.
government has, set aside money for grants, and they have set aside money for each agency has funding that they use for their contract. So that's two separate pots of money. So kind of think of it like there's two separate avenues that you would
Okay.
have to go through to qualify for that. So if you're on SAM.gov, you're normally probably looking at solicitations. Don't quote me on it. I don't think you'll see any grant offers on SAM, anything like that. Now, and I'm not sure specifically where to go to look for open grants for that type of funding. But there are contracts out there, and Destiny put in the chat grants.gov. So
Okay.
that would be your starting place if you're going after grants. If you're going after federal contracts to house those veterans or elderly or those type of things, then yeah, there are solicitations and NAICS codes for that specifically.
Okay. So I'm understanding what you're saying now. I'm there are two separate entities, and as far as the government contracts. So I can, once I get my SAM's registration application, all of my cage, my UEI numbers and all that stuff, I can go into SAM's and look for contracts through them for the senior population.
Yes, so that is exactly right. So
Okay.
that is exactly right. So one your always your first step when doing business with the federal government is you want to have that cage code. So still
Okay.
your first step is getting that active cage code. Then from there you can branch out to whether you want to go after grants or solicitations, which will lead to a contract awards. Or both. Obviously you want to go after many opportunities you can find out there. But to answer your question, the answer is both.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I'm gonna swing back around again. We'll swing back up to you, Ed, if you're still on. We'll just keep circling back around till y'all don't have any more questions.
All right, I'm actually getting on SAMS.gov right now, so I'm trying to pull it up because
Okay.
the question I asked you in the beginning, it wasn't necessarily either is it state or county. I'm talking about is it can we how can I say it? Can we bid on work that's outside of our state?
Yes, you
That's what I
can.
was
So
asking for.
yes, the short answer is yes. So once you get your cage code, you're legally binding to do bid on any contracts, solicitations that you can qualify and provide their service and products for. Um, so let's say, for example, I think you said you were doing like some landscape contract construction
Yeah,
type work or something.
construction work.
Construction work. So yeah, so now you still, and with construction is a little funny sometimes when it comes to doing that with the government because you still gotta have certain rules and regulations that apply to that state when it comes to that type of work. But on a general context, if you win a contract, like say I'm in Alabama, you're in the Maryland area, you can win a contract in Alabama and still provide those construction services. Now you still have to do some of the rules and regulations of Alabama, but your federal contract will allow you to provide those services and work in the state, depending on that agency.
Okay, okay. So you're basically saying it's probably not safe to do construction work in another state. That,
No,
that
I'm not saying it's not safe. I'm not saying it's not safe. I'm just saying you would still have to look up the rules and regulations of that state that you're trying to perform those services in within that state. So yes, it's still safe if the solicitation is out there that says you can perform that work, or let me rephrase it, unless the solicitation states that we're only providing this award to a local vendor within the state, then you're free to apply whether regardless of what state you're in, because essentially you can either sub that work out to a local construction company here, or you can move shop here and open up your own. So
Understood.
that's not a no, unless the solicitation specifically says out of state businesses shall not, apply or provide a bid, then you're free to do so.
Okay, okay. So the next question is, um, they have like the government needs everything. So let's say the safe bet, a construction job with the government can range to a multitude of subdivisions and divisions.
Mhm.
But they also have like where you can sell goods and stuff like that. Is that a more safe than construction far as subbing that out and finding somebody to provide those goods like I say barbering or clothes for the homeless or something like that?
No, so it's when you say the term safe, there is no one over the other. So I mean, you might have more solicitations out there, like Ms. Washington, when she was talking about hotels, you might have more hotel solicitations out there across the board than construction type of solicitations. But if you have a business that can provide that service, you have just as much a chance of winning that bid as the next person. So I wouldn't switch my whole business model just to go after a niche of a service. If your specialty is construction, then hone in on that. But there is not really a competitive advantage because it's more, let's say, barbering type solicitations out there versus construction.
Understood. Understood.
Hmm.
Understood. So you're basically saying it's not about whether it's safe or not. It's about what do you feel comfortable with,
Yeah, what do you feel
basically.
comfortable with, and whether you can provide that service or not. So,
Correct.
read once you get on SAM and you start reading through those solicitations and those descriptions of those requirements, you ask yourself, can I do this work as a prime, or can I, sub this work out and partner up with somebody to perform this service or need to the government? That's what it's
Right.
all about. So and even with those barbering ones too, that may be something you can do as well on top of the construction. So it doesn't have to be one all the same either. So,
Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
mhm.
That's good information. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. All right, we'll come back around. We got some time. Um, Jessica, we'll swing back around to you. Like I say, I'm just circling back around, and as we talk, you guys can ask your questions.
Okay, I got a question.
Hmm.
So when you started soliciting different opportunities, because I think at first when I started looking at the site, it's kind of intimidating
It
because
is.
it's a lot of stuff you have to read through. And so, after a while, it kind of gets frustrated because it's like you're reading a lot of information to know what they want, who to contact. So, how did you go about doing that? And then, second question would be, once you decided that you wanted to go after this opportunity, I can't remember the name of like the document you're supposed to have or something like a resume. But I know
Oh, yeah,
you
it's
put
called a capability statement.
right capability statement.
Mhm.
So how okay, so I wasn't in the first part of the government contracts, but how do you go about creating that proposal and submitting all those documents?
Okay, so I'm gonna try to go back to your first question. Reese, let me take a question at a time. Go back to your first question. What was your first question again?
I believe it was how do you kind of
Determine how
navigate
you read through all the
right how
the jargon.
yes.
Yeah. So my advice, and it's a plethora of advice out there, and people have their own strategies. Is I normally tell people to whatever your business product or service that you're selling, start there. So if let's take Edwin's construction business, for example. If you're in construction and you provide constructions on the commercial side, anyway, then I would start there. I would look up for solicitations that are in that space. That way I can at least read through what they call statement of works or performance work statements. So I understand the language. So I would highly vote against if you are in, like for me, I'm in a hospitality space. I would highly unlikely go for looking for construction contracts because I don't speak that language. Unless it's somebody I'm partnering up with, something like that. So in short, Jessica, I would say start with whatever your service is or whatever goods you're trying to sell, and then start there. Then once you find a solicitation that kind of gears towards that, depending on that next code or whatever that announcement is, then it'll become easier to navigate through that. A lot of those documents and things are to kind of deter you away from bidding. They kind of do that on purpose, to weave out so many emails and all that traffic. But it will be easier once you apply or look for things that your specialty is. What is, if you don't mind me asking and sharing, what is your business, or what are you leaning towards selling or proposing to the government?
Well, at the time I was doing like goods and services for
Specifically in what
um
arena?
the food industry.
Food. Okay. So catering.
Correct.
Yeah, so they have a ton of those out there. They have a ton of catering solicitations out there. And that's where I would start, just to get used to what the whole process entails. I would do maybe my first two or three solicitations, I would just focus on catering solicitation just so I can understand how the process works. Get familiar with, talking, sending emails back and forth with the contracting officer, understanding how to write proposals, beefing up my capability statements. I would start there if that's something you're still doing, because it'll be comfortable for you. Once they're asking for uh, certain things in those catering contracts, they may be asking for weight proposed based on weight or of the food, or they specific ingredients, things that you will be able to speak that language, and that would ease some of the stress and the pain of those documents, if that makes sense.
Okay, it does.
And then you had a second question, I think.
Correct. So the second question was, once you decide which government opportunity you want to do, I guess, like, what are some of the things you submit, and then how do you go about creating your proposal?
Yeah, so that's going to be all on there. And once you look at those solicitations, like I say, your main document would be either your PWS, which is performance work statements, or a statement of work. That's going to tell you exactly what's going to have a section that says instruction of quotas. That's going to have exactly what they asking for you. So for example, let's say you use that catering example. In that catering contract, they may say, look, we're hosting a ball for a colonel or something like that, and we want a catering contractor to provide um, two meats and three sides. And two of those sides may have to be vegetables. You want to gear your proposal specifically to what they ask for. So that's what you want to focus on within that solicitation. You don't want to go outside the box, because they're going to tell you specifically what they're asking for, and that's what you will want to focus on. Hopefully, is that answering the question, or?
It does.
Okay. Yeah. So your solicitation, the government kind of helps you give them what they're asking for. That's the benefit of government contract. They tell you what they're looking for, um, literally to a T. That's why some of those documents is really spell out exactly what we want. So you guys, when you send your proposals and bids, there's no mistakes. So when you're talking about those commercial services like catering, it's going to tell you exactly, most likely, what they're looking for, how many people you're going to be serving, the date and time, the location, et cetera, et cetera. So when they send a proposal, it's kind of straightforward. So to answer that question in short, that statement of work or that PWS is going to tell you exactly what they're looking for. So you don't have to guess on what documents do I need to submit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. We'll swing back around to the top. Zakia, we'll start back with you.
No, I'm good. I think that just for the benefit of the group, the questions that I have would be a bit too specific to
Okay,
my needs.
that's fine.
And yeah, and I feel like there's I don't want to take away from folks that are still learning the process.
Okay, not a problem, not a problem. And like I say, I'm going to share that something with you guys too, where you can have the opportunity to work directly with me one on one. So that way I can kind of help you, guide you specifically on what your niche is or whatever. So as we get closer towards the end, just hang tight, and then I'll share something with you, Zakia, to help you out specifically. Um, Cassandra, we'll go, like I said, we'll circle back around. Do you have anything else that you want to add or questions?
Nothing comes to mind right now, but as we proceed in the Zoom, I'm sure something will come up.
Okay. All right. Edwin, we'll swing back around to you. We'll swing back around.
I'm actually just paying attention right now.
Okay.
I'm just listening.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. So if you guys got any more questions, we will, feel free to put in the chat or ask. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is plug up my computer first. But I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to show you guys two, and Carissa has already shared one in the chat. Um, oh, she has it disabled. Give me 1 second, guys. I can't share. Give me 1 second to share my screen. All right. Um, okay. So are you guys able to see this screen that has Miss Destiny? It says register, SAM registration made simple. Okay, I got a thumbs up. Okay, so here is what I was talking about earlier. When this would be specifically for you and whoever else is not Richard and Sam. So the webinar that we did last week, that's what this was about. We did a webinar that talked about the 7 biggest mistakes that people make when trying to register in SAM, and she created a whole step-by-step guide to help you navigate with that. So this is going to be something that you would want to get Edwin, and it's going to help you get registered in SAM, to kind of cut out all those mistakes that people make when they're trying to, get registered instead, and cut out all that frustration, all that lag time, and all that. So this is if you're not registered in SAM and you have questions when doing that, this is your first stop. This is going to help you navigate through that.
Okay.
Um, all right, and I think Chris put that one in the link. The next one I'm going to share is this screen. Now, this is my coaching 101. What I'm offering is a 90-minute one-on-one consultation with you, Zakia. This is something based on what you were saying that I think I can help you with. This is what I offer, like a 90-minute one-on-one coaching call with me. And I will be able to listen to whatever you are trying to bid on with your solicitations, and I can kind of help you guide in those beginning steps to make sure that everything you have going on with that solicitation, that there is no hiccups, your proposal is kind of set straight, that whole process. So that's what I'm offering there, and I'll get Caress to drop that in there. So what we're offering is two separate websites or two separate links that you can purchase. One is for the SAM registration, if to help you navigate that, and then this one is I'm offering some one-on-one coaching for 90 minutes to kind of help you, whatever your niche is or whatever you're going after, and I can kind of help you navigate through that to help you win those awards. And I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I'm gonna get Caressed to go back. So if there's any questions there, feel free to ask on that. Okay. So does anybody have any closing? We're finishing up a little about 15 minutes early. If no one has any other questions or comments, I'll be happy to continue to go on for the next 15 minutes.
I don't have any questions.
No questions? All right. I'll take a silence. I'll maybe hold for about another 10 seconds and we'll get ready to close it out. All right, so we'll close it out. So this line is being recorded. So I have you guys' email address. So I will get you guys a copy of this recording. That way you can have it. Hopefully we'll be kind of doing more of these just to kind of help you guys out. Like I say, I understand where you guys are with Sam and trying to win federal contracts and all that. And it is overwhelming. It is kind of intimidating. But like I say, I've been on both sides of the fence, and it is attainable once you get started. So I don't want you guys to get discouraged. I don't want you guys to get depressed when going through the whole process, but that's why you have people like me and Destiny and other coaches out there, legit coaches out there to kind of help you navigate so you can win those awards. So we look forward to, seeing you guys again. Look forward to hearing some win stories and some testimonials. And I appreciate you guys coming on tonight. And like I say, if you need to reach out to me or Destiny or whatever the case may be, you know how to find us in the Facebook group. But if not in the Facebook group, you have my Facebook where you can DM me or reach out to me directly. And like I say, if you're interested in signing up for either the SAM webinar or one-on-one coaching with me, those links are in the group as well. So I look forward to hearing and speaking with you all again. And you guys have a blessed night.
Yes. Please don't forget me send that information, Curt.
Yeah, I will. I will.
All right. Thank you, brother.
All right. Thank you.
You guys are welcome.
Bye.